What's up, guys? Check out the song Karma if you want to. It is on my SoundCloud. I'll link it in the bio. Hey there, guys. How's it going? My name is Sumedh Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Today I'm talking about the law of karma. Okay, karma simply translates to action, but moreover, it's intended action. So in this video I might get very deep, and I just want to say this is my own opinion. This is not from any kind of objective studies, right? This is just a subjective experience, and I've understood that when I've done something bad to someone, it's come back to me to bite me in the future. Now, I come to understand this almost as the idea of we have these unconscious patterns, right? These samskars, these imprints, these things that are trapped into our memory and from our past. Essentially, our now is based on our past, right? And our future is based on our past, and the future is unknown. So we've got to understand that, when we have the awareness to change our subconscious, let's say self-sabotaging patterns, that's when we change the karma around, okay? That's when we heal the generational trauma. That's when we heal the karmic debt, in a sense. And this is because, ultimately we are a mirror to other people, right? The people that come into our life are different aspects of ourselves that we come into contact with as well. And so when we get into a situation or an altercation with someone, what happens is it ultimately affects ourselves, and it connects them to like almost an energetic cord to them, in a sense, until they are forgiven and the situation is let go of, okay? Now, it doesn't even matter if the other person forgives you. They're still trapped in that, continuum. But as long as you cut the rope, that's what I think matters, ultimately. It's like you've got to be able to just transcend the hate. Go into a higher state of consciousness to look at your problems and issues from that state, from that space. Actions have an outcome. That's what we know. We've heard of this idea of you reap what you sow, the golden rule, if you do unto others that you want done unto you. There is no long without short. There is no light without dark. We need an opposing pole. And this is a framework of duality, of course, but we've got to understand that once we move through it over time, our idea of karma starts to evolve. And what I mean by that is we understand that you get rewarded for good deeds and punished for bad deeds, but you could do a million good deeds, but you have that one bad deed. It doesn't mean it's going to take away from one good deed. You see what I'm saying? It's just that you got to pay back the bad deed. So no one can kind of escape this mathematical formula or this maze, and changing one side of an equation, if you have math, you always got to change the opposite side, and that's what karma is, essentially, right? There is no static, direct, absolute karma, but there is a dynamic relativity of a flux of karma. So I want you to understand that there's no good or bad. It's just ineffective or effective towards your karmic debt. In a sense, we live in a mathematical universe. We have remainders, and change begets change. It's just a framework to live by. When we start out on a spiritual path, egotism oftentimes sets in. It starts off with ego, but then slowly it transforms to make you understand that life is like this very, very harsh school, in a sense. And this is a game of endurance. And it's basically going to challenge you at so many times, right? And you're going to have to try and pass the tests from the universe, in a sense. The way we live influences how our life will be. This makes sense at the most logical sense of things. The way we are living, the methodology of the way we're living influences how our life results, or what we get in life, right? So we have generational trauma or some kind of karmic debt, right? We're paying off some karmic debt in this reality. Maybe we had a past life and things like that. We can get really spiritual when talking about this topic, but basically I understand it as we have this intuition or insight or something that we feel that is our conscience. And if we know at the heart of hearts we're a good person, we're not going to have that struggle. But if we have a little inkling of doubt within ourselves that we're not a good person, we're going to suffer. you'll understand not to do bad things to others if you really understand this internal intuition. Okay, we have this free will, but we will still learn karma from a consequence of pain and suffering. It's almost like uploading and downloading, right? So we upload our karma into the cloud server, right, and it downloads into us. Maybe it'll take a few years, maybe it'll take some months, maybe it'll take, so it's just this random flux of how it'll come through. It's almost like the chaos theory, or like, the butterfly effect. Like butterfly flaps its wings in another state, there's a tsunami in Asia. It's like everything is interconnected in that way. And so, let's take the example of, let's say we steal someone's money, we rob them, right? Later on in life, we might end up losing money ourselves. Now, this is a very simple example, but this is actually going into our physical body, right? Us robbing someone is now imprinted in our muscle memory, which is also imprinted in the record of our mind, right? And our mind is connected with the all is mind. When you understand that all is mind, you also understand that, why people talk of these things like Akashic Records and things like that, because it's all stored in this continuum, is what they believe, right? Akash, right, in Sanskrit, is sky. So Akashic Records is basically like the sky space, or the ether, that stores all of this information around the world. Because the world has been there for such a long time, right? It's just storing all this information in this sky space, essentially. So that's what the Akashic Records is. I don't know too much about it, so I can't speak too much about it, but that's how I come to understand it. It's basically like, this is a simulation, right? I love to think in this way, in this terminology, but whoever the designer is absolutely brilliant, I would say. This is a computer algorithm of our actions that are being stored into something. We're uploading and downloading, uploading and downloading. That's why karma has this kind of bounce back quality, right? It comes around, Whatever goes around comes around. What would you say is the opposite of gravity? Nobody knows that, right? It makes sense. If we live in the world of duality, we got to understand that, there's something the opposite of this thing, right? So it's really interesting, I think one of the things that we need to do to get out of that karmic debt is forgiveness. Okay, forgiveness is a gift to yourself, and you have to have so much remorse in the system of your body that it kind of overrides the trauma of you doing bad to someone, in a sense, or really, feeling the guilt or the shame, which gets trapped really lower into the body and more basal, right, into the body. I just gave a speech yesterday for Evolution of Consciousness 21 in the convention, and on the first day we had Amy started us talking about the violet flame. Now, the violet flame is said to be something that really helps with dissolving karma, or bad karma, in a sense. And this is from, ascended masters like Saint Germain, Lady Portia, Paul the Venetian, and these people who have tapped into this energy of the violet flame. And it's a very profound and very soothing visualization where you imagine a violet flame on the top of your head, and it just burns all. It's kind of like a cold flame, and it's like water. It just cleanses out your system. That visualization of it just going through your midpoint and meeting your energetic system, it's just a powerful, visualization. So if you guys ever look up the violet flame, it's definitely great for clearing up any karma. Also, we got to understand that a lot of karma is stored in our genes. This is why we pass it on to our offspring, okay? Because we have that muscle memory. Maybe we haven't cleared the trauma or the bad karma, we haven't paid it back. So it's debt that gets carried on into the next generation, essentially, right? And if you can understand karma as like Newton's third law, every action is an equal and opposite reaction, you can then start to really be aware or conscious of the decisions that you're making. And some people also blame karma. They'll be like, oh, but this is my karma, right? And that will actually imprint. It becomes like a placebo karma, right? It's like, oh, because of that bad thing, it takes this time. And also, I believe the Buddhists have a karmic time that, it takes a certain time for it to be forgiven, or it dissipates or something, right? I'm not sure too much about that, but I am very interested in this concept. And if you guys can think of this, right, through this mathematical algorithm, arithmetic universe of interconnectedness and all these cosmic laws, right, of polarity, vibration, when you can understand all of them and really start to use them in your daily life, you can understand that, yeah, I'm going to have to forgive myself. I'm going to have to make ends meet. I'm going to have to solve this thing. And isn't that really what action is about? Like when we get a signal from our body telling us, something doesn't feel right, it's just that we need to heal it. We just need to solve it, and that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes we do make bad decisions, bad calls, you could say. That doesn't mean it's a end-all, be-all rule, right? Again, it's this relative flux that is happening. Who gets to measure, right? Who has the measuring tool to say that this is equal to 100 years in hell or whatever? We don't have that measuring device. All we have is this understanding that good energy, bad energy, good positive energy, negative energy, right? And it's this play, this interplay of these emotions. Sometimes negative emotion being much more stronger, so we actually need a lot more positivity to override the system at times. This is my opinion. Of course, the positivity ratio states that too. I think primarily if you understand that you're a good person, if you're a person of integrity, if you're a person that knows that, no matter how people try to manipulate me and try to get me to cheat or lie or steal or do things, it's going in one ear, going out the other, okay? It's like you got to have really strong ethics, morals, and values that you abide by yourself so that you don't go down a bad lane. The word sin just means you missed your mark, right? So it's a term used in archery. So similarly, you just missed your mark, man. It's just like you didn't go where you needed to go. It's like the direction pulled you into another path. A distraction, right? So traction is going towards something. Distraction is pulling you towards the thing you wanted to go towards, okay? So yeah, it's just a sin is just a distraction, right? It's just you missed your mark. So let's take it like that, and let's start to look at this thing like that as this kind of complex, intricate system, or this universe that connects everything, and let's start to be good people, and let's start to embody that goodness and know that we're good people in our heart of hearts, okay? Have an amazing day. May the flow be with you, and stay legendary. Hope you enjoyed this.